Hi, I'm Annie. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and the intake coordinator here at Mind Therapy Clinic. One of the biggest questions that clients and their families often ask me when they're considering intensive programming is, what is group therapy really like? Which is a really valid question. Groups can feel a bit intimidating if you've never done them before. So to help demystify the group experience, I have one of our wonderful therapists here, Betsy, who will share a little bit more about the group process in general, as well as some of our skills-based groups here at the clinic. Thank you, Betsy, for taking the time. If you can introduce yourself and share a little bit more about your groups here at MTC.
Thanks for having me. I'm Betsy. I'm a therapist here at the clinic, and I lead two of our DBT skills groups. I run the emotion regulation skills group and mindfulness, which are both really focused on helping people build practical tools that they can use in their everyday lives.
And when people hear a DBT skills group, what exactly does that mean, sort of in plain language?
Sure. So, at its core, a DBT skills group is learning how to handle emotions like stress, learning how to communicate better, learning how to manage relationships all in a more effective way. It's very practical and structured. We're not just talking about problems, we're actively learning tangible skills to help people cope, communicate, and respond more confidently than react when things are feeling overwhelming.
And when we're talking about skills groups, how might that be different than something like a more open-ended, process-oriented group?
Skills groups are more structured and educational. They can feel more like a classroom setting. We have a clear focus each week, um, like maybe it'd be being more present or learning a skill called cope ahead, something like that. We talk about how the skill works. We practice it together in all different ways that we can do it, and then discuss how to apply it outside of group. So that that structure can feel really grounding, especially for people who are new to group.
And can you give me an example of maybe what a skill somebody might learn that they could use right away?
Yeah, so one of them in emotion regulation skills is check the facts.
Mhm.
So this is a skill that helps people slow down and examine whether their emotional reaction fits the situation that's going on. So in group, people will learn how to separate what you know for sure from what maybe is coming through an assumption or an interpretation. So an example is, let's say someone doesn't get a text back and they immediately think this person's mad at me. What am I going to do here? They're ignoring me. This skill of checking the facts helps them to slow down and ask themselves, what evidence do I have for this? What other possible explanations are there? What am I not looking at that might be a part of this? So when we realize that our interpretations of a situation that's causing the emotion might not be fully accurate, the intensity of emotions like anxiety, shame, anger often decreases. Then we can manage that emotion in a more effective way. So it's a practical skill that many clients can start using that same day to feel more grounded and respond more thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively.
I see. And I'm curious, I know that you lead one of our mindfulness groups. Can you tell us a little bit about what mindfulness actually looks like in group?
Sure. So DBT mindfulness is skills based, of course. It's very practical and approachable as well. In the beginning of group, we do a check-in and we typically do about a 10-minute meditation of some sort, or perhaps something like moving our body and bringing mindfulness to movement. We might go on a walk outside for 10 minutes and really focus on one of our five senses. That's the beginning part of group. Then we always have a skill that we're working on. So it might be something like learning how to bring awareness to your thoughts or your emotions without judging them. Or it might be bringing your attention to your breath and focusing on just the inhale and the exhale as a way to calm our nervous system. So there's a lot of skills involved, and I work on presenting it in a way that feels really doable and something that you can do outside of group all of the time that might not be just a meditation.
I see. And for somebody that is new to group therapy, kind of what does a typical group look like or feel like?
Groups are supportive, structured, and guided by the therapist. So in my groups, typically, as I said, we start with a check-in. We go around and ask how each group member is doing, go over the plan for the day. We might have, a fun rapport building question in there. Um, a lot of people also tend to ask how many people are in the groups. And we typically have between 5 to 10 people in most of our skills groups, which is really nice because everyone tends to become comfortable with each other since it's a smaller setting. And I think it's important to note that throughout group, you're not going to be put on the spot or forced to share. People can participate at their own pace. There's a lot of normalization that goes on. People quickly realize that they're not alone in what they're experiencing. So over time, people say it feels safer and more comfortable than they expected to participate.
And what would you say to somebody who feels nervous or on the fence about joining a group or DBT in general?
I'd say that's completely normal. A lot of people come in unsure, nervous, not really knowing what to expect. And I find that almost everyone is relieved once they actually experience it. DBT skills groups are about learning tools. They're not about being judged, being exposed, called out on anything. You don't have to be good at therapy. There's no such thing. You really just have to be willing to show up and try out what you're learning.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Betsy, so much for taking the time to share about some of our groups and really demystifying what group therapy is actually like.
Sure.